Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because we're tackling something that keeps pretty much every investor awake at night. We're talking about market timing. You know the golden rule, right? Buy low, sell high. It sounds literally so simple on paper, but actually executing that in the real world, well, that's a whole different beast. So today we're going to unpack a super straightforward method to help you finally master this puzzle.
Let's be honest for a second here. Have you ever bought a dip way too early? You see a stock you love, the price takes a nosedive, and you're thinking, awesome, it's on sale. You jump in feeling brilliant, only to sit there and watch it drop for another 3 weeks. You know, you try to catch a falling knife, and well, you got cut. It is a universal pain for investors. It's super frustrating, and worse, it just eats right into your capital.
Because here's the thing. Finding a fantastic company with a rock-solid fundamentals is incredibly important, absolutely crucial. But that's really only half the battle. If your timing is totally off, you could be stuck waiting years just to break even. A great business bought at the wrong moment can still be a pretty terrible trade. So, how do we stop guessing and start actually measuring the market's momentum?
Well, the answer is the stochastic oscillator. Now, don't let that intimidating name scare you off. You definitely don't need a math degree to use this thing. Just think of it like a thermometer for momentum. It's not telling you the absolute value of a company. Instead, it measures exactly where the current price sits compared to its own recent price range. It basically tells you if the stock is running way too hot or way too cold.
To read this momentum thermometer, we look at a scale that swings back and forth. Down at the very bottom, you have 0. If the indicator actually hits 0, it means the current price is sitting at the absolute rock bottom of its recent range. It's representing total, maximum fear, and extreme selling pressure. Then, all the way on the other side of that spectrum, we have 100. When the oscillator swings up here, the price is at the very top of its recent range. This is peak greed, where buyers have pushed the price as high as it's been lately. So the stock is just constantly oscillating between these two poles, 0 and 100. But you know, the real magic doesn't actually happen at the absolute extremes. It happens in the zones. Let's look at the 20 line. When the oscillator drops below 20, it enters what's called the oversold zone. And what does that mean for you? It means the stock has been falling hard and fast. Selling pressure is hitting an extreme level.
Okay, but listen closely, because this is where a lot of folks mess up. Dropping below 20 is your alert. It is not a green light to just smash the buy button. Remember that falling knife we talked about? A stock can stay completely oversold for a really long time if people just keep panic selling. You need to have the patience of a sniper here. You're on high alert, waiting for one very specific thing to happen.
And here is that exact trigger. The stochastic indicator actually has 2 lines tracking on that 0 to 100 scale. You've got a fast line, known as the %K line, and a slow line, called the %D line. So, step 1, wait for both lines to sink into that oversold zone below 20. Step 2, watch carefully for the fast %K line to cross above the slow %D line while they are still down there. That specific crossover, that's your entry signal. It's literally showing you that the downward momentum has cracked and control is shifting from sellers back to buyers. Then, step 3, you execute the trade. It's this dual nature that makes the indicator such a game changer. On one hand, you have the extreme selling pressure of the under 20 oversold zone, which sets up a potential buy. But hey, every great entry needs a solid exit strategy, right? So on the flip side, we have the overbought zone, where buyers are just totally exhausted. To really master market timing, you have to be disciplined on both halves of this equation.
Let's look at how this builds out our exit strategy by moving up to the 80 line. When the oscillator pushes above 80, the stock has hit the overbought zone. Just like dropping below 20 meant extreme selling, rising above 80 means buyers have just shoved the stock hard to the upside. Greed is peaking, and buyer momentum is gasping for air. This is your alert zone to start eyeing the exit.
And just like getting in, we don't just guess when getting out. We use a mechanical trigger. Step 1, the indicator rises above 80. Step 2, watch those 2 lines again. But this time, you are waiting for the fast %K line to cross below the slow %D line while they're up in that overbought territory. That downward crossover is screaming that bullish momentum is breaking. Step 3, execute your exit. You have to let logic and this exact crossover override the emotional high of a market rally.
Seriously, there's a huge psychological warning you've got to keep in mind here. Don't hold out of greed. Lock in your profits. When a stock is hovering above 80 and that downward cross happens, Your brain is going to try to trick you. It's going to whisper, hey, maybe it'll go just a little higher. Let's squeeze out every last dime. No way. You have to let discipline win out. When the signal fires, take the money and run.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to give you a massive pro tip. Because look, on its own, the stochastic will definitely generate some false signals. That's just how the market works. But you can filter the noise out by stacking 3 specific signals together. First, make sure there's a clear overall trend using a moving average. Second, confirm the stock actually has real underlying worth by using a fundamental value screen. And finally, use the stochastic crossover we just learned as your ultimate timing confirmation. When all 3 of those point in the same direction, well, you've got yourself a seriously high confidence entry.
We have definitely covered a lot of ground today, transforming a messy chart into a really clear, logical set of rules. You now know the difference between an alert and an actual trigger. You understand the whole psychology behind those overbought and oversold zones. Plus, you've got that pro tip for filtering out the junk. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to stop letting emotions dictate what you do in the market? Are you ready to apply this framework and start timing your entries and exits with absolute sniper-like precision? Take these steps, review them, and put them to work for you. Thanks for joining us for this edition of The Explainer, and happy trading.